Dawson's Rentals.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. This is going to be my video talking about the recently discovered Lightning Collection Remastered line. Now, in case this video gets uploaded late, as of this recording in this timeline, we only had a leaked photo of Remastered MMPR Blue, which indicates we're going to be getting, remastered, redone figures with pinless joints and redone molds and all this other stuff, at least MMPR. And I'm going to speculate on which figures we might see as this rolls out and transforms, because Hasbro. Get it? That was a stupid joke. I'm really sorry. But just to talk about which ones would be, I think, the most likely and most needing of it. It's not necessarily a prediction. I guess it is, but it's not one that I'm going to be placing any bets on. I'm a confident fan that knows all. It's no, it's just for fun speculation. But first of all, let's get this out of the way. Again, as of this recording, only MMPR Blue's been seen, but I get a feeling MMPR is going to be the priority. I almost wouldn't be surprised if that's the only thing we see this year, and anything else Remastered doesn't roll out till a decent amount later. But I think MMPR would be the priority for two primary reasons. Number one, it's the anniversary year. There's going to be a lot of focus on MMPR for the anniversary, especially with the special. They're going to want to sell to the more broad audience because the core audience is relatively small compared to the broad audience. So MMPR remastered figures with a 30th anniversary logo on them is more of a slam dunk. Not to mention, if we're being honest, those are some of the ones in most need of the updates. There's some that I don't think are as in need, but I kind of realized as time went on, they didn't seem as bad, and I'm oh no, they're actually kind of bad. Red and black stood out to me as ones that needed updates the most. I didn't realize how bad blue was until later on. Yellow and pink could benefit from it too. I think green has always been okay for me, but it's also one that I think will probably look good in an update. Oddly enough, despite it being effectively the first Lightning Collection figure, I think white holds up pretty well, especially considering it was from the first wave. It's one that I feel like I'm least wanting an update for, but I feel like when we do one, it'll kind of be like with the figure arts and be oh yeah, that one's totally better. But I get a feeling that's where they're going to be putting their focus. They already started updating them, as mentioned in previous videos. We updated their head sculpts in the metallic ones, and those have started to trickle out into other releases. So I think that'll be the priority. I don't know whether they're going to expand beyond that in terms of more MMPR stuff like villains. I hope not, because again, I could give a shirt about the villains, to be honest, but I don't think they need them. Maybe Rita, only because you could maybe improve on it, and she only released in that 2-pack that I think was a GameStop exclusive. If you wanted to do that, sure, but I think Zed and Goldar are honestly great molds that aren't in need of any sort of update. So I hope they don't do that. On top of not caring about villains personally, I don't think it's necessary for a lot of those. I think they already kind of nailed it. Whereas MMPR Blue's helmet looks forked up. So yeah, a good fix. But Zed, they released the one with the silver fingertips. That feels like a detail fans would be I can't believe they didn't paint his fingertips. They're trying to destroy the brand. As far as other series go, though, I'm going to sort of go in loose chronological order. The Zeo ones have had some hit and miss problems. I think the largest problem is the consistency with the visor outline, which sounds like another pathetic complaint, which it kind of is. And I'll be honest, I don't notice it that much. Those are ones that I wouldn't mind seeing updates for, but they're not high on my priority list. Because when they're sitting there on the shelf, from a small distance, I barely noticed that. And I think the other problem was blue didn't come with his weapons and stuff. So those are ones they can update, but I wouldn't put high on my priority list. Maybe gold. I think gold's helmet could stand some updating. In fact, just to circle back a little bit, I think possible shoe-in for an update figure for this remaster line could be Armored MMPR Red, which only ever released as a 2-pack first Comic-Con exclusive, I believe, with Gold Ranger. That could be an easy slam dunk broad audience release, just a single pack of that. It would be kind of cool to do another Jason 2-pack with an updated gold and armored that was just a retail exclusive at most, but I think Armored Red would be another one we could likely see since it hasn't gotten a single release as far as I remember. Armored Black as well, that could be a possibility. There's also still Armored Pink from the comics, which I'm surprised in a way they haven't done since they've done a lot of rando pink figures, but there's stuff like that as well. Obviously, we haven't really gotten to Turbo yet outside of the Phantom Ranger. The space ones I think are fine. For some reason, their helmets look a little off to me, so an update in the far future, but it's nothing on the priority list. Lost Galaxy is hit and miss. I think they could stand to have some updates, except for Magnet Defender, which I think is fine. Obviously, we haven't gotten to Lightspeed yet. Time Force, I think, is one of the ones most in need of an update. Time Force Blue just released, but I would put that on the top of my list of ones I'd want to see redone in a remaster. And I don't think they would do it so soon, but it would be pretty easy to just release a standalone figure that I don't need the bike for to make the release different and also updated. Time Force Red, I believe, is the only other one we've gotten, and I think that his isn't the greatest either. He has kind of too big of a head, and he's a little bit off. Wild Force, to be honest, I don't have a problem with. I know Silver had a lot of QC issues, so maybe for those that like were unable to find a good one, that would be nice. But for me, I always thought it was fine. Like there was like drama over the stripes, which I'm just like, God, who cares? Those ones I'm fine with. That kind of sits in the same category of like Space and Zeo, where if they did updates in the future, I wouldn't be mad, but it's not on my priority list. Ninja Storm we haven't hit yet. Dino Thunder is kind of right in the middle in regards to the core ones. I think the molds and everything are fine. There are some slight inconsistencies in terms of like what's painted where on each of them, so I think those could stand to be updated, kind of like a mid-level priority. Obviously, the elephant in the room is Dino Thunder Black. Where is he? No, but Dino Thunder White, which is arguably the biggest QC mistake they've ever made. Like, I can't even believe that went out. Like, I'm never one to like dogpile on Hasbro, but it's like, how did that get signed off? It reminds me of that puppy pigeon thing where they're like, kids aren't even going to notice from Elf. So with that though, I mean, to be fair, they were nice enough to replace the helmet, and the replacement does look good. I don't know if they still replace it, and even if they do, they're not going to be able to replace it forever. So if you find one, you know, on a whim somewhere or online, you're pretty much only going to be able to find the original release. So that one I think would be the most in need of an update of anything else. I think for me, SPD as a whole is one that I would be most okay with getting updates aside from MMPR. A lot of people hated Omega. I was kind of fine with Omega. Shadow kind of sits in the middle where I'm like, he's actually fine for an early release, but I bet an update would look pretty sick. But primarily, I think the Core 5 has some inconsistencies with their helmets. Some people point out that the Morphers also do with like the thing. I don't give a crap about that, not even a little bit. Like, because, I mean, sure, you might display it like this, but I always have it displayed in the back. That, to me, is an insignificant detail. If they redo them and do that wrong again, I could not care less. But I do get bothered by the helmets because you have ones like Blue that are really accurate and have like the nice white border. It's like the perfect thickness. It looks good. It looks really accurate to the show. And then you have like Pink where it looks bald. And like if we're comparing two lines that have inconsistent like helmet outlines, looking at Zeo and Space, SPD. Zeo doesn't bother me all that much, but on SPD I can tell. And I think there's a general inconsistency not only in the paint, but in the quality as it's gone on, because stuff like SPD Red was super early. So I think that one, for me, reminds me the most of MMPR, where widespread update. Mystic Force Overdrive we haven't gotten to yet. Same thing with Jungle Fury, same thing with RPM, Samurai, and Mega Forces. Dino Charge, there has been some inconsistencies and problems. For me personally, I'm not in desperate need of an update. I like them all just enough where, so long as I'm fine with a Lightning figure, then I'm fine with it, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't have any outside of the atmosphere expectations. So long as it's fine, I'm more than happy. I feel like those are ones that, you know, could stand to be updated in little ways, but nothing that's like a priority for me personally, I'm just saying. Beast Morphers, I haven't gotten yellow yet as of this recording, but those are ones I'd love to see updates for. They weren't bad, and I think Dark Busters was pretty good. But like red and blues, I think were a little too bulky. Although bulky fits in a little more with blues type from the show. But they were a little bit too clunky, and particularly the straps, the way that they lift off, especially like, it looks awkward and cheap. And I think those could use some streamlining. As of this recording, the only one I also have for Dino Fury is that guy back there, Dino Fury Red. I know we've done green as well, but I don't have enough of a problem with them. There's really nothing out of the niche releases like the Turtles or anything that I feel are in that desperate need of an update. I think there could be some cleanup on certain aspects, but there's nothing I'm overly desperate for. You know, I think most standouts to me from this list are Time Force Blue, Time Force in general, and the SPD helmets. I do want to say, just as my last point, is that I do hope that this remastered standard, like presuming it's trying to be the most accurate and best possible, is the standard for ones we haven't gotten yet, meaning when we get to unreleased series like Lightspeed Rescue or Operation Overdrive, they don't purposefully or just release a kind of regular release just so that we can get a remaster really close by. I'm almost certain, even with the remastered ones, we'll still get an updated version. It's almost a guarantee there'll be like a third or fourth version MMPR Blue down the line. But what I'm saying is, I don't want to see them release kind of a mid-tier version of ones we haven't gotten yet, and the ones we're able to start from scratch for, like Lightspeed or Overdrive, they try to make it on par with the ideas of the remaster. So we're not immediately getting to remasters of those. That's kind of what I want to see. But what do you guys think? What are some of the ones you think are in the most dire need of updates for the Lightning Collection beyond MMPR? Let me know in the comments. As always, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps, ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.